What is going on, investors? Hopefully you guys had a great day out there. Time to talk about one of my most favorite retailers out there. That is Costco. Believe it or not, I don't have a Costco membership. I don't shop at Costco, but this is one of my favorite retail stocks in all of the stock market. Ticker symbol COST. The company just reported their Q3 earnings after the bell today. We'll talk about them. We'll go in depth on the numbers. We'll take a look at, the revenue, the profit, the cash flows, the balance sheet, everything that's going on at Costco to let you make a good decision on if this is a stock for you or not. Now, I will tell you, I am going to pat myself on the back right now. March 4th, I posted a video, buy the dip in Costco stock, ? If you watch the video, the answer was yes, you buy the dip on it. I put a line on our stock chart, which we will go over more in depth towards the end of this video. March 4th was right here. This stock was trading at about $320 per share. I picked up shares in my IRA account. I picked up shares for both of my sons in their accounts as well. And guess what? That was very close to the bottom in this one, and it has rallied. It has rallied hard. It is now up close to $380 per share, back to the highs that we made back in November of last year. We'll talk about, this is certainly a critical area for the stock. Anytime you retrace all the way back up to these highs, it can create buying opportunities two different ways. So we'll talk about that when we get over to the stock chart. Before we get over to that, I wanted to take a high-level view at the quarter. We had comparable sales up 15.2% in the United States. Remember, this time last year, people were running out and filling their shelves for some really crazy reason. They were buying up toilet paper like it was bars of gold or something like that. It was really weird, but that's what people were doing this time last year. So the fact that comparable sales are up at Costco when people were doing all types of hoarding at this type of last year, really, really strong, showing a lot of those people that shopped at Costco last year just continue to go there and continue to shop there. You got 16.7% comps higher in Canada, and e-commerce, which is still growing very rapidly here at Costco, up 38.2%. Probably another area of strong growth for this company. Now, let's come over to the revenues here. We got our net sales up here at the top line. We've got a 12-week ended view here. Right-hand column is last year. Left-hand column is the most recent year's quarter, and then, or for 12 weeks. And then we've got 36 weeks here on the right-hand side, year-over-year view as well over there. Total revenue coming in went from $37 billion up to $45 billion. You see these membership fees, man, those ticked up to $900 million. You love to see that, because as we walk through these numbers, that's where a lot of the operating income actually is derived from when you look at these figures. So we got our merchandise costs here. So if you know Costco's business model, they get stuff and they sell it to you at a very, very razor thin margin. Take a look at this. They spent, we'll call that $40 billion. We'll just round that up. $40 billion to make $44 billion in net sales. You see here for the 36 weeks, we spent $115 to make this $130. Actually, not that bad of margins. Okay. Then you got the selling, general, administrative. You could almost wrap that into the merchandise cost. So if you take this 40 and add another 4, you're basically at your net sales. Okay. Same thing over here. We take the 115, we'll actually call that 116, round that up, and you add 12, you're at 128, 129. That's basically what you have in these net sales. But you have these membership fees, okay? And those flow basically all the way down to the bottom line. Okay, it costs Costco almost nothing to charge you whatever it is, $50 a year. Again, I don't shop at Costco. It's not a place I shop, but I really love this business model. And that gives us operating income in the quarter, $1.6 billion. We were at $1.1 billion last year. For the 36 weeks, we were sitting at $4.4 billion. We were at 3.5. Just a steady business. Okay, as long as they keep continuing to grow this membership, that will grow the net sales and that will grow the bottom line. Very, very well run business. Now, a lot of this operating income flows down to this net income that gives us an earnings per share on a diluted side, $2.75. Let's take a look at what we're paying for the dividend. Oh, just $3.16 for the whole year. So they're almost almost making as much in one quarter as they do for an entire year in terms of that dividend. Last year, I believe Costco paid a special dividend. Not saying that they're going to do that every year, but they certainly have lots and lots of retained earnings where they can continue to either do special dividends or raise the one that they already have. Now, from a balance sheet perspective, we've got lots of cash on this balance sheet. Okay, we got cash in these short-term investments. You basically blend it out and you got about $11 billion. We had a little bit more in the previous period that they have going back to August here. I'm not really too concerned about that. It looks like they've loaded up a little bit on merchandise inventory. Notice we had $12.2 billion in August, and we've kind of loaded that up to about $14 billion. Okay, so all things being considered, looks like some cash might have flowed down into inventory. That gives us kind of our current assets essentially flat, kind of on a year-over-year view, or at least from August to May view. And then from total assets perspective, basically flat, up just marginally. Now, they do have some long-term debt on the books. We've got about $7.5 billion. We've got this current portion of long-term debt, which is essentially a rounding error, but all things being considered, this is a company that can take on more debt if they need to, but since they have such strong earnings, such strong retained earnings in that net income, don't think they're going to need to do that unless they really, really feel like it. Now, I guess we don't got any cash flows. Costco's not hooking up with any of that, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump over to the stock chart. Now, I showed you the last time we recorded a video, we successfully predicted a bottom in this stock, or very close. Okay, it went down to 310 or so. I can't remember exactly when I came in here and stepped in here and bought this, but believe me, it was shortly after I posted this video. And again, I had such a high conviction on that purchase that I not only did it in my IRA account, I did it in my son's accounts too, which I don't do a lot of purchasing because they're little. They're like under 4 years old. They don't have tons of money. So I try to make the best purchases possible when I make purchases for this. Now, we've rallied hard. We've gone from 320 to 380, and you might say, well, look, maybe I missed this one. Well, we're actually at a critical level again. Okay, we're hitting our head right at this 380, call it 385, just to kind of use some round numbers here. The stock's trading down in the after hours a little bit. Two things happen when you get back up to kind of highs on a stock. What you're looking for is a green candle above, we'll say 385, 386 on this one. Actually, 390, just to make it a round number so it's easy for you to remember. Some of you guys might be listening to this and not necessarily watching it. You're looking for a green candle above 390 on Costco. You get above 390 on this one. That can be a momentum play. This thing could maybe inch its way up to 400, but what that does is it makes 390 a level of support because it was resistance here. It's acting as some resistance certainly right here, but if we can bust above it, certainly as we come back down, it'll act as a little bit of an area of support. We'll see if that materializes. Now, the other thing that happens is that we get rejected here around $390 per share. Okay, sellers just step in. It's kind of a top in terms of the stock. Some people might see a double top, something like that. Well, okay, now you get a pullback in Costco. There is one level that is really sticking out, or kind of sticking out. It's not like this amazing level, but it's where the stock broke down initially. Okay, it's down in this 355 range. Again, that's $30 from where the stock is right now. Wouldn't expect it to just move that way very quickly, but if you get a pullback into 355, you miss this 320 area, this could potentially be an area where I certainly expect buyers to step in here at this 355 level for Costco. So love what we're seeing here. Very easy company to understand. It is also a consumer facing company as well. The other thing I do like is this e-commerce. Okay, they're not blowing it out of the water like maybe a Target or a Walmart, certainly not an Amazon, but it does give you some exposure to that e-commerce as well. And the other thing that I really like what I see is they have these big comparable sales year over year on what I would consider very, very tough comp, because Costco was one of the few stores that were open. And again, we talked about this kind of hoarding mentality that people were in this time last year. The fact that they're able to beat those comps, my opinion, just shows the strength of this business. Any pullbacks in these ones, especially significant ones, is, in my opinion, always a buying opportunity. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. That was Costco. Good luck with your investments.